Hey, we are back. Stick to a consistent release schedule? Ha! Who's got time for that? Not me, apparently. Um, yeah, at the end of the last segment, I did end up getting the TMs from the girl that wants the items from the vending machine. As you might expect, there really wasn't very much of interest. So I think I did get Mega Horn from one of them. Oh my god, that's a great start. Yeah, I got Mega Horn from one of them when I gave it to Levi here. I guess mostly just for fun, whatever. And of course, I gave him a Shockwave TM as well. I mean, whoops. Yeah, Shockwave's a decent enough move to have. So, I figured, why not just spend some of that cash on TM moves that'll be at least moderately useful. I mean, the fact that it's basically what the electric type Swift is pretty nice. So yeah, anyway. And I feel like I sound like a broken record a lot. But yeah, a lot of it, just keeping up with other games and stuff. Like specifically in this case, my friends and I usually try to have some kind of a game night occasionally, so it's always a question of finding, games that are easily playable, when everyone's playing online. And since one friend exclusively does PC, it's also finding, a game that can work between the PS5 that most of us have, and also you can play with someone who plays on a PC. So, I think for a while, we were doing Diablo, and we still, I think, plan on keeping that as, a mainstay. But you do like to try to find some other games, just so every once in a while you can kind of shake things up so you're not always playing the same type of game. So we looking to potentially do sometime with Helldivers 2. I kind of just started with that, and just a little bit before the next time we would get together to play that, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I think when you're doing something like that, we try to walk like a line where it's a game that can be played without needing to be maybe super invested. I mean, you don't necessarily want anything where all of our interaction is just gonna be like, okay, okay, you need to go to this part of the map and do this objective, and we have enemies over here. Don't necessarily want to deal with. I meant to switch out Pokemon anyway, but let's see what happens here. But yeah, Diablo was definitely very good for that. Yeah, Diablo 4 was definitely very good for that. I mean, apart from some major bosses, you can mostly just be like, okay, it can be like mindless, mindless killing these mobs of enemies and things like that, and, just grinding experience points and going through dungeons and all things of that nature. So So we'll see. I mean, yeah, Helldivers 2 is a new option. So we'll see. I mean, it could be something that comes through. I mean, my selfish thing would have been if we could have made Destiny 2 work. I mean, I've only been playing that pretty much since, you know, the first game before the first DLC came out on that. Oh, okay. I mean, I probably could have used Shockwave, but good to know that this guy is going to be keeping me from doing any fire moves. Of course, that's the other thing. It's like, hey, if it's been a minute, I sometimes forget what moves I have, especially when I'm not used to them having that. But yeah, that works too for taking out flying and water type. Whirlwind, no. So, I think, yeah, I think with, no, I didn't want to check. I wanted to shift, sorry. Yeah, I feel like, you know, maybe, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then, of course, you know, and I think I mentioned this a bit during one of my previous videos where, you know, I do also want to work on some of my own backlog items. And sometimes if it's, I'm looking at things and it's just like, well, it may just be a matter of some games I may never get around to finishing just because they can be really good games, but like at the end of the day, I don't necessarily I don't necessarily enjoy so much the gameplay style. Like I guess a really big one would be the Spider-Man games. I think, you know, objectively speaking, I mean, I would definitely say they're very, you know, very good games. I'm not, you know, the biggest fan of the combat style, which is kind of, I guess you would say, kind of like an expansion on the Arkham games, the Arkham Batman games. So, let's see. I think I want to go. I want to get that other item. It doesn't take as long. That's one thing I definitely. Yeah, great. That was pretty useless anyway. I do appreciate that they increased the speed which these warp pounds work. You know, and it's kind of funny when I think about, like, you know, it doesn't seem to make much sense that the hideout here would have, like, those kind of things just casually around the floor. I mean, I guess if I would, like, try to headcanon them, they either use for, it's like tools used for moving around boxes or whatever. I think we could probably just go with that. Beautiful, that worked perfectly. Of course, he has Flame Body. Why wouldn't he have something like Flame Body? Absorb? No. It's worse than Vine Whip. So yeah, I mean, it didn't. I mean, with those kind of things, I mean, it's like I can appreciate why they would. Why did I do that again? Yeah, I can appreciate why they have in gyms. Like, I don't really necessarily mind gym puzzles. I mean, you can probably appreciate why, you know, gyms would add a additional layer of challenges for their thing, you know, gyms. So, I mean, I guess it at least makes sense that Well, he used them in the Rocket Hideout here, so I guess he would have them in his. You know, Giovanni would have them in his gym as well. But yeah, anyway, so get back to Spider-Man. I know I've tried it a few times, and like I said, by pretty much every measure, I recognize they are, you know, very well-made games, and I could, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could, you know, play through them, and it wouldn't really be a big deal. I feel like, I mean, that may be something that, you know, eventually, you know, I could go back and, you know, finish playing through some other time. I don't know. But I feel it's not a priority because I'm like, if I'm not having a lot of fun with the game, you know, it just, is it worth the time? You know, maybe just find something else that you're enjoying playing more. And, you know, and some of it's really just like a very personal thing. Like, it's, you know, I don't know why I keep doing that. It's like some weird thing that I'm pressing every time. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't deny that my opinion is probably very much a minority. I mean, they're very popular games. I mean, because like even Arkham, like I played the first Arkham Asylum game. I never really got around to any of the sequel, like Arkham City. I never really got around to doing that. You know, a lot of it's just a major question of, you know, at the time I had a little bit more spare time to kind of like just power through it and enjoy, like, okay, well, I can enjoy the story, and, you know, I definitely you know, definitely enjoy the here's the key. Oh wait, yeah, okay, I think I forgot to go down the steps here. That was my bad. Let me see. Yeah, before I fight this guy here. You know, so I have that in the back burner. I mean, so I want to move something, you know, a little joy, a little more. Like I think I said before, I want to finish off the Resident Evil games. The interesting thing was, I think, you know, I saw they look to be remaking the Resident Evil 1 again. I mean, yeah, they did a remake of that a while back, but I guess, you know, this case, it's, you know, to bring it in line with the remakes they've done with 2, 3, and 4 now. Which, I mean, which makes sense. I mean, we could argue, I mean, is it the most necessary? So, like, you know, the original version is very... I mean, the original version, the remake of the original version done in the original style, I should say, was very popular. So, I mean, I can... Oh, safeguard. Jeez. Alright, let me see about yeah, getting this item here. X defend. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. I mean, if I were to make an argument for anything, I would say I could appreciate, you know, maybe something like, you know, going back to Code Veronica, which would probably be a bigger priority for something that really could use an update. I mean, that said, I could also appreciate, you know, a redone version of 1 would probably appeal to a wider audience. I mean, just based on name recognition. So, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's just, you know, if I had to, if I had to give any kind of input in the matter, that would be, that would be what I would say would be best to do. I mean, you could even go further. I mean, there's other games. If you wanted to remake games that definitely could have potential for fresh life, like I said, Code Veronica, you could even go, and say, okay, we're going to redo the, Max Elixir, great. Items, man. Okay, Bubble Beam, well, I wonder. That's pretty funny. Maybe I might do that for new. I'm gonna have to look and see. I don't think I need anybody's moves swapped out. It's not a massive priority just this moment. But yeah, so it was only like Survivor, which was kind of that. For anyone that doesn't remember, that one was really early kind of first-person shooter entry in the franchise, but it was done. You had to move a cursor around the screen, so it's kind of like one of those light gun things you'd see in the arcade, but just kind of having to do that with a controller and manual moving, your cursor around like that. It was not the most satisfying to play, to say the least. So there would definitely be that to consider. I feel like, beyond that, I mean, I think there has been rumors of maybe doing a remake of 5 as well, and you could probably go and say, you could do Part 6. Again, entry that was maybe a little less favorably received. Maybe there's a way you can bring some of that back. I mean, I never played all of Part 6. That's another game I could probably go back and finish at some point, but I didn't have as negative a reaction to it as maybe a lot of people did. I don't know. And I feel like that's also kind of a thing. Sometimes maybe you also just need to go back, with the benefit of hindsight, and just be like, maybe I could give something a second chance. And I've tried it before, and sometimes you're not going to necessarily change your mind. Like another one, and this is also going to be probably a big hot take for some people, but like I did with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I never, I never really got into it, the Zelda franchise, and I feel like I've probably said this before, but I mean, it probably due at some level because of being a Genesis kid back in the day. So I didn't have the Super Nintendo, so I never got to play some of those games. Wait, did I want to go to 4? Oh no, wait. Yeah, I think I didn't want to go to 4. Yeah, because I need to fight that guy when I come out or whatever. Alright. And who do I have up first? Let's see, I'll switch you out here. Yeah, so, one of the games I've tried a couple times was, Ocarina of Time. I think I originally tried playing that, friend's copy on N64. Kind of got for it, but it just didn't hold my interest. And then, a couple years after that, I got the release they did for that on the 3DS. So I figured, well, maybe, you know, having it as a, you know, something like it's easy to take on the go in handheld fashion might be a little bit easier to keep interested on that. I would say really didn't work out that way. I kind of, once again, I played it for a little bit. Once again, it, you know, second time wasn't the charm on that. So it's just one of those things. It was just not going to work out, and just, you know, not my style of game. But you know, I feel like sometimes that it is worthwhile to go back and, you know, give some things a second look. You know, sometimes it could just be like you find maybe you just weren't in the mood for that originally. And that's kind of how I felt like with Mass Effect Andromeda. I was a big fan of the original Mass Effect trilogy, and I was pretty excited for Andromeda when that was going to be coming out. And I think at the time it was like, and not really because of, you know, like a lot of people talking about, you know, there was some bugs and this, that, and other things. It wasn't really that. I think like it just played differently enough from how the original trilogy played. You know, Andromeda was much more open world, and I think at the time it was a lot of just being maybe burnt out on a lot of. It felt like there was a lot of games moving to this open world thing, which, you know, on one hand can be very interesting. I don't really have any good moves for this, guys. Alright, we'll just tag in good old Spectre here. Of course, why not? Paralyze me. But yeah, and it, you know, and of course my open world fatigue still kind of continued then. It's not necessarily my favorite style of game either. But then I went back and I said, okay, you know, don't necessarily have to play this dedicated where I have to go to scour every corner of the map. I don't need to worry about necessarily doing a full completionist run. You know, let me just focus on the major main story missions. You know, you can always go back, and especially at the time when I knew, okay, we're not going to be getting any sequels, or, you know, we're not going to get, you know, or any DLC. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to worry about, okay, trying to stockpile to what I would do in a one of the original trilogy games, you know, worrying about things that will carry over to the next choices and stuff that'll carry over to the next game, whatever. Because that's not going to apply here. And you know what? I finally did it. When I finally was able to do that, I was like, you know, I was able to really enjoy the game. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of the experience. This is more or less the experience I was hoping to get. I was able to appreciate, you know, it had a lot to offer. It had a lot to offer in terms of, you know, combat improvements and things like that. So, you know, just being able to come back with that fresh perspective, it can really be a good thing at times. And as I said, it's not always going to work out. But, you know, that's what sometimes you do. So, and I think even with movies, you know, I'd be like, I wonder if there are maybe some, I feel like maybe there'll be some, like, movies or TVs, like, I know way back when the Terminator TV series, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, came out, I remember I was not really a big fan of that. Like, I watched the pilot episode, and it just didn't really click for me. And it might have just been, you know, at the time, it could have just been a combination of, you know, I didn't really get, you know, just the first episode was not the one to grip me. Maybe another episode, future episodes would have. And it was also kind of, you know, around the time frame of when the Terminator Salvation movie came out, and that always was a little bit underwhelming. Oh gosh, who do I want to use? Well, I don't think El Toro hasn't done anything so far this segment, so let's see what we can get out of this guy here. Alright, try to overheat you. Beautiful. And, you know, with Salvation being somewhat underwhelming, at least from the perspective where it was like, okay, you know, we've gotten, like, bits and pieces of the future war kind of teased and whatnot for the previous entries in the franchise, and it's like, okay, so this is going to be, we're going to have, you know, the future war, see what happens, right? And maybe it didn't fully deliver on that promise. So, and I know with the TV series, I know, like, it's supposed to end like on a cliffhanger because it got canceled after the second season. But I feel like, well, maybe when I hear like all the positive comments about it now, maybe that's something to potentially give a second chance to. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna call it here because we've hit up almost 28 minutes now. Well, we're 27 and a half, whatever we're at now. So I think next time I will take care of Erica's gym, and then we can go ahead and, like I said, take out the Pokemon Tower, and then it's going to basically be either going down Bicycle Path or the route below Lavender Town to get to Vermilion City. Well, either way, we'll have to do both those routes. So, yeah, that'll be a lot of trainer battles. Always plenty of trainer battles. But anyway, we will see y'all next time.